Hey everyone, my name is Donald Lee, this is my Capstone project, and my essential question is how can I utilize my coding and entrepreneurship skills to develop and launch a tech startup that generates revenue?
So why did I choose this topic? I've always wanted to start my own tech startup and code something used by thousands of users. I was also inspired by Mark Zuckerberg's story of creating Facebook in his dorm at Harvard and then getting rich. So for my startup idea, I created a Chrome extension called Provent, which is a Chrome extension to help users stop procrastination. And for those who don't know, a Chrome extension is basically a Chrome add-on that allows you to customize your Chrome browsing experience by allowing you to change up your theme and add additional features. But before I jump into my product, here's some brief history on why I decided to make this product. During the pandemic, I found myself procrastinating a lot more than usual. Because all assignments were done and submitted online, and lessons were also online, I was basically on my laptop all day. Because I was already on my laptop, I would end up spending a lot of my time going on distracting websites such as YouTube and Reddit.
To stop this, I installed various productivity Chrome extensions such as Momentum and Forest. Momentum is basically a Chrome extension that makes your new Chrome tab prettier and gives you many productivity widgets such as a to-do list. Forest is a Chrome extension that gives you a Pomodoro timer and block distracting websites.
Additionally, because I began self-teaching myself how to code in grade 9, I already knew HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, which can all be used to create Chrome extensions.
So I decided to learn how to make my own Chrome extension in grade 11. I built a Chrome extension to remove distracting YouTube videos and only show educational videos based on keywords users saved. And now it's only showing me educational videos. If I were to Google something distracting like anime, it would filter out random videos and only show me the educational ones. But if I were to Google something like math, I would see math videos. So yeah, but I never got the chance to release it on the Google Chrome store because the extension is really laggy, the design is really ugly, the code was not the best as you can see right now. So the extension ended up being really hard to maintain and there were a lot of bugs that I didn't know how to fix. Ultimately, I got the basic features done and moved on to a different coding project. Alright, back to grade 12. So I thought of this idea a few weeks before semester 2 started and started working on it 3 days before semester 2 started. So between January and February, I did some brainstorming and decided to make something to help me be more productive. Although I have Momentum and Forest installed, they didn't really work for me. I wanted additional features such as a Pomodoro timer on Momentum, which costs money and I am broke. And I found myself being too lazy to turn on Forest, so I wanted to make a combination of these two, but with more features tailored to me. This is my brainstorming document for my Capstone project. Here you can see that I added some features that I wanted on it. And I also decided to make a timeline of when I wanted to get each thing done. However, I procrastinated and only followed it for a few weeks and then got way too lazy to open the Google Doc every day. Additionally, from Entrepreneurship 12, I learned that when starting a startup or a company, I should do customer validation interviews. So I came up with some questions and interviewed some classmates and friends. And yeah, I also came up with other ideas and added them all here. So like my marketing plan and everything else, resources. And now that I got my ideas down, from past web development experience from grade 9 to 11, I learned that I would need a UI/UX design, so that's what I started with. Without a UI/UX design, I would just end up coding the product without knowing how it should look like, then end up recoding the entire product if I don't like how it looks. So I decided to make a UI/UX design just so I know how the product should look like before bringing it to life. Here's the UI/UX design I made for my product, and here's the logo, which is kinda bad. After finishing this, I sent it over to some designer friends I met from volunteering at a youth-led nonprofit called Youth Helping Youth for feedback. After getting the feedback, I applied it, and this is how it looks after applying the feedback. And then I began coding the actual product, which ended up looking like this. And then I procrastinated for a while. Weeks later, I realized that the design I made was kinda bad, which means I would need to get more feedback, and then recode the tab later. But despite the more work that comes alongside it, I decided to get more feedback and reached out to my friend Grace on Instagram, who I also met at Youth Helping Youth. So I was basically like, "Hi Grace, it's been a while. I'm currently working on a Chrome extension, and I was wondering if you could give me some feedback on my UI/UX design for it." And Grace was like, "Sure." After giving me feedback, we started talking about school and stuff, and then I started thinking, how cool would it be to get someone to help me with my UI/UX design and marketing? Because those aren't really my strong suits, and she was studying business and computer science at Western University. It's good with design, and startups usually have more than just one person in them. So I was like, wanna join my project? And then after explaining what my product was and more about my project, she was like, okay. So I ended up getting a team member. After that, we set up a meeting time through Google Meets, and from there we got to work. We discussed about how we will market the product, how our branding will look, and what features we should have on the extension. And then we decided to set up a weekly meeting time every Friday at 8 p.m. We decided to make a promotional website. So Grace made a web design for it using Figma, and this is how it looked. After she finished, I had to take a break from creating the product to code the website, which took some time. Although I had prior web development experience, I was able to improve my web development skills by making the website mobile responsive, which means to change how the website looks depending on the screen size. For example, on a desktop, we have two columns, one on the left and one on the right of the website. However, on mobile, we can't fit two columns, so we have to make them stack on top of each other. And because I decided to get a domain name for the website for professionalism, I had to learn how to link it to the website. Here's the website that I made based off Grace's web design. We were supposed to have a form to allow users to sign up for our emailing list through a service called MailChimp over here. However, in order to use that service, I had to make my home address public due to some legal laws, which I did not want to do. So instead, we just made a Google form. So when you click on this, it takes you to a Google form where you can input your email and sign up for our mailing list, and also as a beta tester. So if you're interested, you should do that right now. This is how the finished website looks like. Feel free to take a look, and yeah. Although my initial goal for the Capstone project was to use my coding and entrepreneurship skills to develop and launch a tech startup that generates revenue, midway I realized that I should spend more time marketing my product instead of launching it in June. I learned that no matter how good a product is, if we can't market it well or don't spend enough time marketing it and gaining traction, not many people will know about it, so I needed to focus on promoting the product by making a website. Which means I have to postpone developing the actual product and launch date. Therefore, my main goal for the Capstone was to now market the product, get most of the main features done, then launch the product at the end of July or beginning of August, once we finish hyping up the product and having beta testers test for errors and give us feedback. Additionally, I realized that the UI/UX design that I made for Provent looked way too similar to Momentum. So we decided to rebrand, and Grace redesigned the new tab. and other things, just so we can differentiate and hopefully so I don't get sued. So this is how it looks now, and she even made the UI/UX design for the pop-up, which looks really nice. And this is how the website blocker looks like. And she also redesigned the logo because the one that I made was not the best, and hers is a lot better. Before I show you the final product, here's what I learned from my Capstone project. What have I learned about starting a tech startup? The importance of branding. Initially, the design of Provent looked very similar to Momentum, so we decided to rebrand just so we can differentiate from our competitors. Startups need to prioritize marketing. No matter how good a product is, if we don't spend enough time marketing it, not many people will know about it. I don't have to be good at everything. Marketing and design are not my strong suit, so instead of trying to learn them, I instead got a team member who is good at those, which allowed me to focus more on coding the product and the website. Smaller teams work better once starting out, which I did not expect to learn. If I were to start another tech startup again in the future, I will just get a few teammates and then get more as time goes by if it's necessary. In the past, I worked in larger teams, but from this, I learned that much smaller teams for a startup are much better. It's much better. Although workload is heavier, because there are only 2 people, we both know what's going on, communication was better, and new ideas don't have to go through multiple people, which saves a lot of time, as startups need to move fast and make quick decisions. What have I learned about myself? Working in groups help hold me accountable and prevents me from procrastinating. Because we would need to check in frequently, I would need to have things done before our check-ins. Having a spreadsheet with deadlines don't really work for me because I would get too lazy to open them. I need something that opens automatically and is easy to access. A set weekly meeting time works really well for me because it keeps me on track, so for post-secondary, I will consider getting a study group and set a meeting time with them just so I don't procrastinate. I work better under pressure. If a deadline is approaching, I end up procrastinating a lot less. Although 2 monitors can be convenient, I found myself being more productive coding with 1 monitor when working on Provent at school with only my laptop. I didn't have to move my head that much and can code and then quickly switch tabs and refresh to see the result, then switch back to the code, which I found much more efficient and easier to do. And lastly, reading success stories motivates me and drives my ambition. For example, after reading an article about Momentum gaining 100k users in 4 months when they launched, I felt really motivated to work and started dreaming bigger. What challenges have I faced? Learning how to build a Chrome extension and understanding documentation because Google had an update that forced all new Chrome extensions to set up their files and code in a new way for the sake of security. So although I had prior experience, I had to relearn some things. Luckily, they have documentation, so I overcame this by reading it and by Googling solutions on Stack Overflow. Getting the data to save and sync across tabs. For example, getting the to-do list to have the same items on both the new tab and pop-up. Bugs in my code and trying to get my code to work. But I solved most of these challenges by Googling, checking Stack Overflow, and reading forums online. Procrastination, which I could not stop, but setting weekly meeting times and the approaching deadline really helped. So for my overall journey, my Capstone up to this point has been really fun. Getting the chance to create a product from scratch and work with a UI/UX designer and marketer was a great experience. Although the product isn't launched yet, I really liked how it's looking so far, and I'm excited to continue working on it and launch the product to the public at the end of July or beginning of August. I was also able to do things that I couldn't do in the past. For example, for my first Chrome extension, I didn't know how to allow users to make edits to their keywords and save the edits, so the only way to do that was for them to go into the code and add it there. However, now I do. I am really proud of the product so far. I really like how it looks, And all these features are actually really useful and something I can use in the future when I head to post-secondary, as most assignments will be online, so I will need to be able to be productive on my laptop. Now that I talked about what I learned, I can finally give you all a sneak peek of Provent. This is the tab that opens whenever you open Google Chrome. You'll be seeing this instead of the typical Google Chrome tab, which looks like this. On the new tab that opens up, we have a clock, the date, and a search bar. Then on the side, we have a convenient slide-in widget, which has several convenient tools. The only one working right now is the to-do list. The others are still in progress, but when they are done, a miniature version of it will pop up on the side, just so you don't have to go to the actual website to see your calendar or to listen to music. And since I'm done studying for biology, I'll just do this and this one too, and I'll just delete this. I am planning on adding a word of the day, daily changing backgrounds, and the option to upload your own photos to create a slideshow. Now for the pop-up. We have a Pomodoro timer, break timers, a to-do list, and in the future, the Google Calendar button will work, which will allow you to conveniently access your calendar on whatever website you're on. When you turn on the Pomodoro timer, it will block distracting websites that you set, and they'll be unblocked after the Pomodoro timer ends or when it's time for your break. In the settings page, you can set what websites to block. However, we are still planning on adding more options and features to the settings page, such as a feature to upload your own backgrounds. So we will be completing the UI/UX design for the settings page once we finalize all the features we want on it, which is why it looks like this. Now to demonstrate the distracted website blocker, notice how YouTube is blocked. So if I turn on my Pomodoro timer and go to YouTube, it won't let me go on YouTube. This timer doesn't sync with the pop-up just yet, but it will in the future. I can go on other sites, such as Twitter. But if I were to go back into the settings page and block Twitter, then I can't go on Twitter anymore. Let me just go to the settings page right now, add Twitter, submit, and then if I were to go back to Twitter, it will be blocked. These sites will be unblocked once your Pomodoro timer ends or when you turn on your break. And now that I'm done recording my Capstone project, I'll just remove this from my tasks. And that's my Capstone project. I hope you enjoyed the video. We'll be launching the product at the end of July or beginning of August, so if you're interested, be sure to stay tuned for updates by following us on Instagram at Provent Extension, or check out our website at provent.tech. You can also subscribe to our email list, which is in our link in bio on Instagram, and also on our website. So if you are interested in becoming a beta tester or being emailed if we have new updates, be sure to sign up for that. And yeah, bye!